Hello everybody and welcome. We're just letting people settle into our Zoom chat, our Zoom audience. Welcome. It's lovely to see so many of you. Just a reminder, if you could all make sure that your microphones are muted. And then as we go through this, it'll just create less background noise for our performers. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to communicate in the chat, you absolutely can. Just keep everything positive, encouraging, supporting. We have my co-creator of the COVID Monologues, Terry Power, in the chat, just monitoring things. If you have any questions, Terry Power is the person to ask. I'll just wait a couple more minutes in case we have any additional add-ons for our Zoom audience. Lovely to see you, Florence. And if anyone is a first-time user of Zoom, at the bottom of your screen, on the bottom left-hand side, there should be two options, one to mute and one to turn off video. So if you find that all of a sudden we can hear you laughing, clapping, or anything like that, that's where you would go to change those settings. So yes, this is our first time trying out online performance with an audience in the room with us, which is very exciting. Things could go wrong. You know, Zoom and the internet are very fickle bits of technology. So we've done everything we can to solidify the connection. This should also be currently streaming to Facebook and will also be uploaded later in case there are any technical difficulties during the show. We can then edit those out. And as long as everyone can hear me okay, if you have any issues with hearing any of our performers, please do just let us know in the chat. And we'll be fine. Woohoo! Okay, so it's 10 past. I think we'll get started. Welcome everybody to the COVID Monologues. This is collection 2. Collection 1, we did perform last weekend. It had a significant number of technical difficulties, but we just changed the medium. We changed it into a recorded and edited performance that was then uploaded later. So as you see, constantly adapting to the new worlds that we live in. So the COVID Monologues came about when myself and my co-creator, Terry Power, if she would like to join me on screen, she can now. That's absolutely fine. She's also dealing with admitting our Zoom audience, so, you know, take into account, she's doing many things. But this is Terry, we first had the idea to do COVID Monologues a while back, a couple of months ago. I was working on writing some monologues just as an escape from COVID and the kind of creative vacuum that it created. And Terry went, wouldn't it be wonderful if we asked a load of writers to write monologues based on the current situation we're in as a kind of snapshot piece of history, was the idea we had. Is that right, Terry?
Yeah, I thought there really should be a documentary kind of a theater to really capture what we were feeling and experiencing. Yeah, and so I thought that would be also quite healing for us as well, as you have said, fill the creative vacuum that many of us are experiencing.
Yeah, and we were, I mean, blessed and surprised to have over 60 submissions of monologues to this project, which gave us a wealth of different things to choose from. It was very, very difficult selecting just 25 of those for performance. And we hope to bring you more of them in the future, either in, you know, edited form or potentially just expanding the collection and performing some more monologues. We'll see how it goes. It's fairly time consuming. You know, we've put this on as a fairly relaxed performance. So we haven't asked our performers to memorize any of these monologues. The writers that are sharing their own work, some of them are performers, some of them aren't. But we haven't put that pressure on anybody because given the current times, you know, it's a lot of effort to put into something like this, especially when people have a myriad of other things going on in their lives. So please just be forgiving. You know, if any mistakes happen, they happen. It's live theater and we will address them when it comes to it. But I know you'll all be a super supportive audience, so I'm very excited to get started. A little bit just about me and Terry and who we are. I met Terry studying for a performance degree in Bath, England, and now we both currently live in Palm Springs, Palm Desert, California, and are continuing to work with each other in a local theatre and put on things such as this, which we hope to bring you many more of in the future. Audience, yeah, please leave your videos and sound off throughout the performance. At the very end, I'll invite all of our performers and writers back on screen, and we can give them a virtual round of applause then for all their hard work. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce to you the first monologue of the day. This is a piece called Spiraling, and it's written and performed by Elaine Hartel.
Oh, God, another day. Is it Tuesday? I think it's Thursday. Nothing on the agenda. My head hurts. I'll just lie here a while. Oh, Christ, he's still here. I can hear his spoon hitting the cereal bowl. I don't want to see anybody or talk. I thought he'd be gone by now, out for his walk. I just want to stay under the covers. Uh-oh. I hear him coming this way. I'll pretend to be asleep. Oh, he's opening the door. What is he doing? Putting something away. Oh, good. He's tiptoeing out and closing the door. Softly. Such a kind man. I need space. Silence. No bickering. I can't breathe. Maybe open a window. Allergies are worse than outside air. Could be the virus. I might need a ventilator. I'm not ready to die. Even if I'm of that age, I'm not ready. I still have things to do. Oh, Lord, don't let me die of this virus. Oh, great. Now that I'm dying, I get religion. Roman Catholic brainwashing. 12 years with the nuns and the priests. Not even sure I believe in God. Possibly a higher power, a superior intelligence. Otherwise, what accounts for science? Nature, trees, flowers, the beginnings of things. Maybe we're just a flower with a longer lifespan, from bud to full bloom, to stems withering and dying, becoming mulch. I feel like mulch. Maybe I'll just slit my wrists. Who am I kidding? I ate blood. Not pills. I'd end up getting my stomach pumped. Definitely not drowning, slowly suffocating. I wouldn't jump from a bridge or a window either. It's too much time to contemplate what's irreversible. Dark thoughts. The whole point is to live. Okay, when I take an airplane, I tell myself I've had a great life, accomplished more than I expected to, and I'm fine with going down if that's what happens. But this virus thing is different. I'm not ready to die from this virus. Will I be ready to die from anything? Probably not. I like the idea of nothingness, though. Just mulch. No worries about what comes next, other existential crap. Oh, here he comes again. Don't move. What the hell is he doing? Another drawer. Guess he forgot something. On again. Finally taking his walk. I'm not getting up. I feel like shit. I don't care if I'm in my nightgown all day. Bam. Why does he have to slam the front door? Oh, now maybe I can go back to sleep. He went out without his mask and his key again? Second time in 2 days? I'm coming as fast as I can. Give me a break.
Thank you so much, Elaine, and going first as well. It seems like our live stream is up and running and working, which is amazing. I'm very happy about that. Feel free to give people virtual claps in the chat boxes, both on Facebook and on Zoom. And I didn't mention before, but I think this performance session will last for around an hour. And afterwards, there will be the opportunity to ask a few questions if you have any of our writers and performers this evening or today, depending on where you are in the world. We have cast and crew that are dotted all over, both from West Coast, East Coast America, and the UK. So also let us know in the chat if you're coming to us from any other countries, because that would be wonderful to know how far reaching this is. And our second piece of the day is a piece called Nurse Brown by Julian Felice, and this one is being performed by Stephanie Stevens.
I'm on my way back. I never thought I'd hear myself say that. Not when I left a few years ago. And yet, here I am, on plane, bound for a country that spat me out when it thought it no longer needed me. To a country that's now crying in pain for people like me. It was awful. Last time, after the referendum, those smirks, those smug faces, those puffed chests, boasting about a self-destructive victory, that sense of empowerment that suddenly allowed people to tell me to go back home, to turn their noses up at me and dismiss my contribution with a wave. It was as if it was now acceptable to be racist, that what they had actually voted for was for the right to make people like me feel like they were no longer needed as part of this vague plan to make Britain great again. That there was no room for chocolate faces or foreign voices in this idealistic landscape of a country that never really actually existed. That they could finally let loose the hatred that lives inside of them. They told me to go back to my country. So I did. Who wants to stay in a place where they're no longer wanted, no longer appreciated? They said I was stealing their jobs, but couldn't exactly see many of them in a queue to stick IVs into dehydrated arms, or to sponge bath a comatose patient that hadn't moved in 9 months, or to be the last hand that a person ever held as their life drifted away. There aren't that many volunteers to work long hours in horrendously underfunded conditions to help with a life-saving procedure 1 minute and to wipe up feces the next. The truth is that this Britain of utopian dreams is being held aloft by people like me. Like atlases crushed under the weight of a thankless nation. I took my skills home and they welcomed me with open arms. But now I'm going back. My family think I'm crazy. But the country I used to feel was my other home has come calling, and I have answered. They need people like me now. A health service being put under strain by a sinister virus needs my skills, and there is no need for bitter pettiness. Decided to push my pride aside and forget the taunts and to help save lives. Because that is how we teach these people the strength of our common humanity. This is how we show them that we always belonged here. This is how we show that this place is also our home. The racists aren't shouting anymore. Instead, they're clapping. I don't want claps. I just want my dignity.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for that piece. I find that a lot of these pieces we selected because they, when myself and Terry read them, really made us feel something with a connection to people in different situations across the world. And that piece in particular is one that always gets to me. I am going to ask of our audience, because I am new to some of these Zoom settings, if you could try to only comment in the gaps between performances, because I think it might be popping up on our live stream for people. That would be wonderful. Thank you so much. You can feel free to write your comment in advance and then just hit go when you see my face. I don't mind things popping up while I'm talking. I'm not the star of the show. Moving on to our third piece of the day. This is I like this piece a lot. It's called Of Musicals and Men, written by Ken Pruce. And this one is performed by Kate Murray.
It's horrible, Miriam. I cannot be quarantined with Albert anymore. He makes it unbearable. Why did I ever marry a man who hates musicals? 3 months of movie nights, and we have never watched one from start to finish. I've tried everything. Okay. He loves war movies, so I put on South Pacific. He retreated to the bedroom. He misses baseball. Damn Yankees. Struck out there too. I showed him Chicago, right? Catherine Zeta-Jones in fishnets, and he didn't like any of that jazz. It is killing me, Miriam. I mean, the man watched 7 seasons of Dexter in the first weekend of the lockdown, but he can't make it through 5 minutes of Sweeney Todd. And it's not that he doesn't even like music, he listens to it all the time. But heaven forbid that song is used to advance the plot or develop character. Suddenly it's the tool of the devil. He will sit through Roger Waters' Hairspray, a terrible movie that is basically a musical. But he will not sit through Hairspray, an awesome movie, which is actually a musical.
Yeah.
Last night, for the first time, we technically made it through an entire musical. I DVR'd Les Mis, and I convinced him to watch it by telling him that it featured Gladiator battling Wolverine, right, with Borat providing comic relief. 10 seconds in, he asked me to fast forward past the singing. So I hit fast forward, and from the opening credits all the way through the end credits, and then he switched to Game of Thrones.
Thank you so much, Kate. That was wonderful. I hope everyone is enjoying it on the Zoom chat and on Facebook. Once again, if you are experiencing any sound issues, let us know. All seems to be going well so far. Always good to check in. I'm going to just ramble for a little bit, give people some time to write any comments that they want to write. I'll leave that little pause between things. Myself and Terry also wrote a couple of monologues for this series that we might perform next week, depending. But today we also have a special additional monologue for you by one of our writers who was a part of Collection 1. So that will come to you later once we've got through our Collection 2 program. All right, and on to our next monologue. Already we're racing through these. It's wonderful. This is a piece called Visiting Dad by Marge O'Neill Butler. And today it is performed to you by Emma Merritt.
Dad, I'm knocking on your window. The curtain is suddenly pulled open. I yell again, "Hi, Dad." His eyes smile with that smile that's all for me, the one he gives me every time he sees me. But this time, I can't see his nose and mouth. "I've come for a visit." Of course, he can't hear me. So the nurse holds up his phone. I smile and dial my cell. I hear his muffled voice say, "Hiya, sweetheart." He always calls me that. I tell him, "Good thing you're on the first floor, Dad. Otherwise, I'd have to get stilts." I tell him to wait a second, and I unfold the chair I've brought and sit down close to the window, where he can see me best. I open my thermos of tea and toast him with my cup. The nurse hands him a glass of something, and he toasts back. We always do that when we're together. Look into each other's eyes, raise our glasses, and smile. It might seem like a small thing, but I want him to feel as close to normal as possible. 7 people in his home have died. I can't imagine the pain of their families. I stand up and peer into his room. "Are they taking good care of you? Don't pull any of your tricks on the nurses." He's on speakerphone, so the nurse laughs and gives me a so-so gesture. I spread out my hands and place it on the window. He reaches out and mirrors my hand, touching without touching. But it's better than nothing. Like 2 mimes trying to escape from a box. Suddenly it's raining, and I've left my umbrella in the car. He gestures for me to go, but it's too soon. I want more time. I lean up against the window and kiss the wet glass, leaving bright red lips. I tell him, whenever he wants a kiss, to touch my lips. Finally, say goodbye. He doesn't want me to get any wetter. And his curtain is pulled closed, like the end of an act. That's what scares me. The end of his act. I want to take him on a walk, go for coffee once a week like we always do, have him tell me those familiar stories that I know by heart. But we can't. Not now. So I leave him in the care of these kind nurses and slosh back to the car in the storm.
Thank you so much for that, Emma. Another lovely, lovely piece. Virtual round of applause for you and your writer. This next piece is a piece by Evelyn Mertens, and it's called Perspective. She's also asked me just to mention this piece has been performed before and was wonderfully directed by Melissa Nocera. And this piece today is going to be performed for you by Rebecca Werner.
Must be nice to be married and have money and a big house and a fancy car and to have nothing better to do with your time than to bitch to cashiers in supermarkets. Man, did I want to say that to her for a long time, like over a year, way before this whole coronavirus thing. She's just this old woman, maybe 45 or so. Nothing special to look at. And she's always bitching, always returning shit. Like she'll say, look, these tomatoes are all wrinkly and they have a mold spot. Only she'll forget to check the receipt and see she bought it like 2 weeks ago. Or, these walnuts are all broken, even though the label says halves and pieces. So, when I got back last month, after being out with COVID for weeks, and she was whining same as ever, I really wanted to say, yeah, it must be nice. It must be nice not to have to work, or maybe to work from home, so you don't have to get on a crowded bus at 6:30 every morning, and then get sick, and then be alone, and then wake up coughing and sweating in the middle of the night with the sheets soaked and smelly, though you can't do nothing about it because you can barely move your head, and there's sure as hell no way you're gonna get to the laundromat to wash them. But I sucked it all up. Never said nothing. I'd just give her a refund and say sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am. Then, one day, she comes in the store with her husband, and I'm ringing her up, and I notice something. He's checking me out, looking down my boobs, trying to catch the rear view action a whole once over. Totally. Yeah, so something clicks in me, and just like that, I give her the refund and say, sorry. Then I look over at him, standing behind her, and I say, I hope you are satisfied with the merchandise, sir. You should have seen her eyes pop out of her skull. I could see he was grinning underneath his mask. In my head, I'm doing a little victory dance. Go, Rita! Go, Rita! And I'm thinking, yes! 10 for Rita, 0 for cranky old bitch. Anyway. The next day, she comes in the store with him. Only this time not stocking up for the week. Just a couple of things. And you just know it was his idea to come in. Now he's the one doing the talking, real friendly like. And yeah, I'm playing along. And her? Not a peep. No returns neither. And then, tonight, I'm walking to the bus stop, and I hear someone call out, "Rita!" I turn around, and it's her. She's leaning by the side of the store. Guess she actually read my name tag. Anyway, I'm thinking, run, girl, run. But then she calls out, "I need to talk to you, please." So I go over. I stop, like 6 feet away. We both put our masks back on. And I say, "What?" And then she goes, "You're the highlight of his day now." I don't say nothing then. I just look down, wish I was anywhere else. And then she goes, "Why'd you do it? To show me I'm a bitch?" I already knew that. He knew it too. The only question is, am I a bitch because my marriage sucks? Or does my marriage suck because I'm a bitch? I'm thinking, shit! What does this woman want from me? And then I look up and I see that her eyes got all funny. And then she says, "You see, the thing is, since for once he couldn't go running around and we were stuck together, I had this crazy idea that maybe he would actually start to enjoy being with me, doing things with me. Simple stuff. Share a stack of bagels, binge watch Mrs. Maisel, maybe do some work around the yard, whatever." And then, get this, she looks right at me, sighs real deep, shakes her head, and says, "It must be nice to be single and young."
Thank you so much for that, Rebecca. We have got a couple of people entering the waiting room who don't have names. So if you're listening to this on Facebook, just make sure you rename yourself instead of just having a device name. That way we're trying to keep all the performers and audience as safe as possible from anyone who might not be a genuine audience member. I know Zoom's had a lot of issues with that and people crashing meetings. So that's the only reason we do that. This is always growing and evolving. So next week, I will definitely make that more clear for our next performance. But as far as things are going currently, I think this is a wonderful live platform for performers. And I'm really enjoying watching all of these live. It's much more, it gives you a much better connection than something that is recorded and uploaded. So it's wonderful to bring that to you and from performers all over the world. Really enjoying it. And our next piece is a piece called Imagine, and this is one by Ruben Carbajal. And this one is performed to you today by another Coachella Valley resident, Tim McBride.
Hey, Tim. Yeah, I know you got a lot on your plate right now. I'm sorry for hounding you like this, but it's kind of important. Wow. It's also crazy, right? I mean, yesterday I sent Rosa out for those cage-free eggs that I like. Yeah, she tried 6 places. Nothing. I mean, Jesus, you couldn't even get the cruel eggs. I can't believe it. And yeah, okay, the death, of course. The death is bad. It's real sad stuff. Hey, I hope you and Tina are okay. I already left messages, one with your assistant, but she said you're busy. I get that. You must have 1,000 things going on. Listen, I really need to, I really hate to bother you about this, but it's been on my mind. And I'm sure you caught the Imagine video. Yeah, you know, the viral one with Gal Gadot and Will Ferrell and everything. And I'm okay, but why wasn't I asked? Okay, I'm surprised. That's all. Look, you represent 63% of the entire cast of that. Yeah, I did the math. I did the math longhand. Yeah, and to be frank, I'm really hurt. I mean, God, you've been my agent forever. I mean, years and years. I mean, before I was even doing shampoo commercials. Remember those days? Yeah, you know I can sing. God, remember last year, karaoke at the Cronin Association? Yeah, I did the Lana Del Rey cover. Yeah, I absolutely killed that room. I annihilated it. I mean, forget that. I played Tom Jones in that Vegas plot, remember? Yeah, too bad that didn't get picked up. God. You know, I'm stretching my wings right now, Tim, and I thought you were on my side. I'm beyond actor. I'm now, God, I'm like a lifestyle brand, okay? It's just, I mean, it's a no-brainer, you know? I mean, I've got that guided meditation app, and I got this line of organic cotton sheets that just screams, bed in. And for Christ's sakes, I got a protein shake called Imagine. God, so many connections. I find it hard to believe I wasn't even considered. It really feels like an attack. I know it's not the case. It's just what I'm feeling right now. I'm an actor. It's what I'm feeling. That's all. Listen, just I'm launching these healing crystals this week, and it would have been a terrific tie-in. You know, people got to heal right now. You know what I mean? More than ever. Okay, like I said, I hope Tina and the kids are good. It's just me and Rosa right now. And Julie and the kids moved back in with Liam before Christmas. I'm so happy for them. So it's just work is my focus. The place, well, God, it's just way too big for me. It's like a 12-room meditation retreat. Lots of echoing, very peaceful. And at night, silence. Nothing but coyotes. Silence and ambulances and coyotes. So, yeah, take care, Tim. Okay. Best to Tina and the kids. Namaste.
Thank you, Tim. Wonderful piece. I love that we could even hear some beautiful like wind chimes in the background that really added to the ambiance of the performance. All these little things, happy happenstances. So now, before we do another live piece from our collection one, we have 2 monologues for you today that are recorded. So I'm going to attempt a screen share. Now, this one's an important one for you Facebook viewers. If you can't hear this for any reason, let me know in the chat, and I'll fiddle with some settings and try and restart. But hopefully this boots up first time. And while I'm figuring this out, this is a piece called COVID 69 minus 68, written by Lee Lawling, and this is performed by Jordan Pidell, a friend of mine from England. So hopefully this goes off well and you can hear and see him. Here we go.
Well, goodbye. Sorry, I wasn't your type. Again. Fuck. Oh, it truly bites that you don't seem to be anyone's type in this jack-off-at-home days by yourself. All the apps saying, stay at home, don't leave your own little world, don't meet up with anyone in person, but reach out across the globe to anyone and everyone who'd like to do a little FaceTime or grinding time, all safe and secure from your own little domain. Except everyone doesn't seem to be into you. Wasn't it Dua Lipa that said boys will be boys? She also added girls will be women, and that's really a monumental difference, I do believe. Because boys will be jerks most of the time. Oh, you picked a shitty time to break up. Oh, I know, he was a loser, yada yada, but how bad was he really? He never hit you, he never slept around on you, he never laughed at you. But he was also so fucking boring. So that's why you left him, because you needed excitement and needed adventure and needed more, and look what you've gotten. A global pandemic. Maybe it started because I left Jeff. You never know how the universe works. One little glitch and pff, the world explodes. And Jeff didn't waste time finding someone else. He's posting pictures of them all over Facebook, sheltering in place, kissing each other, loving each other, socially distancing together for the greater good of the world. And what about you, Shane? Trying to find a jerk-off buddy a million miles away, alone. How's that for adventure? Maybe you'll be different, set your gay faces to chat. What's your secret pain and story? There's only one way to find out. Say hi and hello until the end of time.
There we go. Hopefully that worked for everyone. A lovely recording there from Jordan. Thank you to him if he's out there watching for taking the time to record that. It came across wonderfully. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Hopefully as well, we can incorporate a mixed media in these performances. You know, for people who can't, for whatever reason, perform live, we have so many opportunities to offer to actors and writers, and this was really a testing ground for that. That seems to be working really well. So I'm excited to do more work like this. So do follow the COVID Monologues Facebook page if you haven't already, to keep up to date with all of those things. I'm just preparing our next monologue, so you might have heard a little sneaky snippet there of this next piece that I'm going to share with you. This is our last piece from the collection 2 monologues, before we share one from Enid Bryce. This one is written and performed by Charlotte Turner McMullen, and it is called Row. So bear with me 1 second while I get these screen share settings up and running.
He goes, "No, you're not." And I'm like, yes, I am. Then, I kid you not, he steps right up close to me, looks me up and down, his eyes come to land on my chest, and he goes, "Prove it." I'm like, what? Prove what? What would prove it? If I was stood here in a floor-length cloak with a skull for a face, I could whack out a scythe and hack your head off with it. I don't do that, by the way. Not most of the time. Anyway, I'm like, for fuck's sake, mate. If I was here with a dick flapping about out the front of my coat, that would probably be proof enough for you, wouldn't it? All that's going on in my head anyway. All that's actually happening is I'm stood there staring at him like he's just on a shit in my lap. He starts to get this look on his face like he's won. So I end up just grabbing him, shoving him in the boat and starting to row. It takes him maybe about 10 of the most awkward minutes before he starts to lose that look. Before it starts to dawn that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't having him on after all. Maybe there was proof after all. Then, out of the blue, he stands up, jumps overboard, and starts swimming. I mean, why? Honestly, why? If you were starting to clock on to where you were, like he was, why would you lob yourself in the river and start to swim off like Lieutenant fucking Dan in Forrest Gump? And honestly, I just let him. I don't give a shit, do I? I don't get paid for this. I do it because I care about you lot and I want to make your lives... Sorry, not lives. I do it because I want to make things easier. But anyway, as I'm watching him bob off into oblivion, the thought hits me and I go, hear that? No! Exactly! That's the sound of the world getting some bloody peace and quiet. Now your fat gob is gone, you prick. That's your proof. I know, it's shit. And it was pointless. But the bloke had kind of already lost by that point, hadn't he? Staircase wit, that's what they call it in France. L'esprit de l'escalier. When you're having an argument with someone, but you cannot, for the life of you, think of a comeback until you're left the room, halfway up the stairs, off to go sulk somewhere. L'esprit de l'escalier. All right, listen to me. I am trying my best. This isn't my fault. Not that it's your fault. It's nobody's fault. Well, no. It's nobody's fault. I know it's scary, but it's probably better than what you left back there. I'm just trying to make conversation. You know, it's not easy turning up in this thing, on that shore, and seeing the looks on all your faces. I know you know exactly where you are. You know exactly who I am. You know exactly what's happening. There was a funeral director in here the other day, sat there. She was only young. I'm blabbering on about bollocks knows what, but there was one moment when she was stood on the shore. Everyone else is clambering into the boat. Some bloke in the background is complaining his feet are getting wet, but she is just stood there, staring out. I go over. She had her back to me, but I could tell she knew I was there. The breath, like the puffs in the air, sped up a bit. But she didn't turn around. Not for a long time. When she did, she looked me right in the eye. Right in the eye. Nobody does that. When she did, she had this stare. No falter. Like she'd had her eye on me a long time. Like I'd been in her life a long time. Just never quite so up close. You understand? I said, just to, check. There's always a few that don't, or who refuse and swim off like bloody... Anyway, she nodded, as if to say, of course, this isn't new information. As if she'd been stood on that shore 100 years. I didn't know what to do. I don't know, she just had so much sadness running so deep, like it was about to spill over and soak her feet. And I just... After a few minutes, my brain is just starting to kick in and remind me what a twat I must look like when she stepped right into my arms. She was so warm. I never expected that, you know. I realised it was the first time I'd touched a person in 100,000 fucking years, or however long it's been, I don't know. No one ever even lets me help them into the boat. That's why I'm here. I'm here to row you down the river, not push you in. Listen to me, whining, like making a connection with you will change the way the next bunch of people act when they get their feet wet climbing in here. I don't expect it to. Make the most of it, being here. I don't know, appreciate the view or something while you can.
Thank you very much to Charlotte for that piece. So beautifully performed and so beautifully written. Because that piece concludes our Collection 2 Covid Monologues series. We have got one more monologue for you this evening from Enid Bryce. This was performed as part of Collection 1, but we're very excited to bring this to you, our live audience, this week as well. Afterwards, I will invite all of our performers and writers to come on screen so they can take a virtual bow. And if you would like to at that time, feel free to unmute yourself and give them a round of applause as well. That would be a wonderful thing to hear, as I'm sure many of us are missing that live interaction with an audience that we have missed over the past 6 or 7 months. So without further ado, our final monologue of the day. This is Enid Bryce performing a piece that she co-wrote with Bob Zaslow. And this piece was actually also directed by Susan Ward, and it is called The Rash.
Oh, hi, Dr. Goldfarb. I guess I'm fine, but I'm sick and tired of trying to hide my feelings. I mean, come on, who's ever really fine these days? And if they say they are, I guarantee you they're lying. Last night, I watched Dead to Me for 12 hours straight. It's about death, divorce, addiction, murder, infidelity. You know, it's comfortable, really. It's comforting. It's like watching the news, especially since COVID. So, yeah, I guess I'm fine. Well, except for the rash. It started on my arms, but now it's spreading. Do you think it means I'm not comfortable in my own skin? Nah. I'm probably just allergic to something. Oh my God, I look like shit. Oh, when am I going to get enough nerve to go to the beauty parlor? I'm sick and fucking tired of looking my age. Oh, God. Are you eating a bagel? A bagel? At $250 a session, don't you think you could have waited a bit? And no offense, but could you please sit farther back from the screen because, well, I don't want to say, but it's your nose hair. Oh, I'm so sorry. That was rude. Shut up! No, not you, Dr. Goldfarb. It's my parrot, Sophie. Why can't I be more like her? She just goes with the flow. She doesn't give a damn about nose hair. My husband and I, we're good. We're good, yeah. Well, except for small things. I mean, hardly worth mentioning. For example, we both seem to land in the exact same spot in the kitchen at the exact same time. So yes, you could say he's getting under my skin. I know what you're going to say. How does this make me feel? I told you, I'm breaking out into red, oozing rashes, and I'm itching like crazy. That's how this makes me feel. Now, of course, I love my husband, like I love my Icelandic wool sweater. I feel so glad that you could smile. Could you do me a favor, Dr. Goldfarb? Could you please tell my husband you think I'm still funny? Are you looking at your watch? Time isn't up yet, is it? Oh God, now I'm itching all over. What is the meaning of this itch? Could you please just give me a hint? I guess I'm not really doing so fine. And maybe the rash isn't just an allergy. Time's up? Okay. Thanks, Dr. Goldfarb. You know, I feel better.
Thank you, Enid. That concludes our performance section for today. So thank you so much for everyone who joined us on Zoom. You're all so wonderful for being our test audience for our first ever online live show. I'd like to welcome all of our performers and writers to turn on their videos if they would like to, and audience if you would like to join me in applauding them for all of their wonderful performances. So thank you, everyone. It's actually lovely to hear applause, even if it is over the screen, in support of all your fabulous work. So definitely from myself and Terry, thank you so much for tuning in to these today. This performance I'm going to leave up on Facebook and try and upload to YouTube also, so that it's there for you to rewatch if there's any pieces you'd like to see again. I know I certainly will be turning to these when I feel like I'd like some kind of connection to performers. I can hear that. I would like to open up to any questions that our audience might have. Terry Power, my co-creator here, is monitoring our Zoom chat. Terry, have we had any questions from our audience at all? None as of yet. I also don't have any on Facebook, but I would like to address one to the writers that are in the room. People can feel free to turn their cameras on or off as they so feel comfortable. Don't feel like you have to have your face showing all the time if you don't want to. But to our writers, how has lockdown been for you in terms of creativity? Because I know for me, writing is an outlet, and I'm sure we've all had a lot of things that have come up that could be put into writing. So if there are any writers who'd like to talk a little bit about how writing has helped them through lockdown, does anyone want to take those?
Hi, this is Marge
Hi,
from
Marge.
from Miami Beach, Florida. I wanted to say that actually I've written a great deal more during the lockdown because there was nothing really else to do. So I have written 2 one-act plays and a myriad of 10-minute plays. And I also belong to 2 writers groups, so twice a week we get to read each other's work and hear each other's work. And so it's been prolific for me. So I haven't minded quite so much, except now that I have shingles and I'm miserable. But anyway, I've been very busy.
Wonderful. Yeah, I've also managed to find time to do a lot more of the personal creative projects such as this one that sometimes work doesn't allow you to do. You know, if you're working all the time or you have other projects that are work related, that can be a constriction. Any other writers want to contribute at all? You can raise hands, virtual hands. I know for me, having a stimulus to write has been something I've been enjoying, and that's one thing that creating this stimulus brought up was it's got a topic, it's got a focus, and I can just free flow and let out some emotions. How about for our performers? How have you found it during lockdown, being, I would assume, but correct me if I'm wrong, fairly disconnected from the performing live environment? Tim, do you want to take that?
Yeah. Well, when everything went to hell in a handbasket, we had just, as Tessa knows, we had just opened a show. So we had done one run, and the next day got notice that everything was shut down. And the hard part is when you're not working and you're not performing and there is no outlet besides going to pick up groceries, laundry, yard work, and painting, you know, and you don't want to be one of those people that just sits in front of the television every day. This is the first kind of normal I've had preparing for this in weeks. And so the voices in my head have kind of calmed down a little bit, but it's really difficult being so disconnected because a lot of my work stuff, but a lot of my social stuff revolved around connections that I had with people that I sang with, people that I did theater with, you know, people that I came into contact with. So it's been really hard. Add to that the COVID-20 that I picked up over the last 20 weeks. And it's been, it's tough, and it's nice to be able to do something, a little bit of an outlet like this. So thank you. Thanks for asking. It's been great to be included.
Wonderful. Anybody else have any comments on that? Questions? Terry, do we have any more questions? Oh, yes. Who's that?
I think for me, like Tim, it's been definitely difficult to adjust. I think before this, I was really getting my stride, doing a lot of theatre work, and then suddenly everything just stopped, grinding halt. But I think doing things like this via Zoom and collaborating online, I think before we actually went live, someone said that, you know, without having the internet, I think it would have been very difficult for a lot of people, but the internet's helped us stay more connected. And I think even more, I think the enthusiasm to collaborate has really blossomed, which has been great to see. People that I probably wouldn't have talked to. I mean, I'm talking to people who are like in California and Miami Beach in Florida, and it's incredible. And I'm in my like bedroom in Crawley, West Sussex, a really small town. So it's lovely to be distant but still feel really connected. So I guess it's sort of swings and roundabouts at the moment.
Yeah, I'm finding similar things to you, that actually, you know, you're just getting in your stride with performing live on stage, and then when that's cut off from you, it's adapt and overcome, you know, use the tools we have and I mean, theatre will always find a way to come back and grow through the cracks. So I'm looking forward to what other people produce. And I think, you know, collaboration is always going to be key in that.
Absolutely.
So if anyone watching this feels like they need that glimmer of hope, it is right here for you, live on Facebook. Kate, did you have something to say on that?
Yeah, I was just going to piggyback on that because Stephanie, that like both Stephanie and Tim, like that resonates with me a lot because it's just, you know, we're stuck here, but it's actually been kind of inspiring to see how people are like figuring this out. And like, we have a whole new set of challenges. We got to figure out technology. We got to figure out time zones. Like that's a thing, right? All of this stuff that's just been a really big challenge, but I've been really inspired. It's been hard for me personally. It's been hard not knowing what the end is. Like, where is this forever? We've been working here in Orlando to start up a new collective focusing on uplifting marginalized voices. And we're like, what, like, how do you plan for the future? So I think that's a struggle that a lot of us are going through, but it's been really cool to participate with folks from all over the globe in ways that we wouldn't have before. So yeah, I'm just really thankful, just like everybody else, to have these really cool opportunities.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for your contributions. If that's everything, Terry, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Because if not, then we'll...
Yeah, just quickly say what my thoughts were, and that is that you know, when Tessa and I came up with this idea, and I really wanted us to reach as far as we could across the globe to get a lot of different voices. I don't know if that's just it's just because we're writing in English or what, or how we get even more people involved, because I really would love to hear from other voices, you know, in other places that we would never hear from, to hear what they're experiencing. But one of the things that I do want to say here is that, like, I was alone all summer. My wife went back to England and she was with her family, and I was pretty much here by myself. And so this was a great way of me reaching out and hearing these stories and reading through them over the over 60 that we received. I mean, I related to like so many of them, and yeah, even today, they reduced me to tears because I experienced these things as well. And again, I just see that as being so healing. And thank you so much for participating in this. We have more to come next week. But yeah, I just applaud you all for, as writers, as artists, and everybody coming together. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and Terry and Tessa, this is Elaine. I can unmute myself, but I can't start my video. But I just want to say it was wonderful to meet all of you and to have this experience from all over. I mean, there were people from quite a distance, and it was a very wonderful, joyous experience. And I thank you for all the hard work that you did. And I don't know why I can't get my video to turn on.
No, it's a problem. Thank you, Elaine.
Video.
I just wanted to say thank you to Tessa and to Terry, and of course to Rebecca and Melissa, but to Tessa and Terry for doing this. And it's true what they say, you know, as every crisis there is an opportunity. And the fact that now we're globally connected is a whole new experience. It used to be like, oh, well, you don't live here, so we can't do anything together. And now all of a sudden we all can. So, you know, there's good in every bad, I guess.
Oh yeah, just another opportunity. So yeah, we're hoping to continue. I mean, I know collection 3 is the last one of this round, but as Terry said, we're definitely looking to reach out to get more voices and more perspectives on from different writers across the world. So, you know, possibly once we've recovered from this and checking out, you know, how much time it takes to put this together, we're definitely looking at expanding that.
Yeah, who knows? COVID Monologues 2.
Yeah, just to expand the collection as widely as we can.
And
so yeah,
you can do non-monologues too. I mean, I've gone to lots of readings where, you know, the speaker view and there are 2 people on screen and all that. So it can be done too.
I'm going to definitely play around with the technology and hopefully, you know, start some kind of theater company that can produce work like this. But you know, we'll continue playing around with the technology and see what wonderful things we can create. So to round off the evening, thank you so much to everyone who's joined us. And thank you to all of our Zoom audience. I'm going to take us off live. So we say goodbye to you all watching on Facebook.
Thank you again.
And thank you so much for watching.